babes, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Brandy and I am the host of the Be Real Babe show, a spin-off of the Be Real Babe podcast. And today, you guys, we're keeping up with Canada, or like, can I? I feel like I can't. I feel like I broke this segment off the podcast so I could keep you guys more up to date, myself up to date. And I feel like I'm still not able to keep up. Holy shit. Canadian politics, what is going on in Canada right now is absolutely insane, you guys. But that is what we're here for, and that's what we're here to talk about. But today I'm actually going to take a tiny break out of talking about politics. I know. I've been doing this, honestly, you guys. I've been doing this on the podcast now for 3 years. I have been talking about Canadian politics, which I'm going to share with you shortly here in the episodes that you can go back on the podcast that I have talked about things in Canada and the politics and all of that. But today I specifically wanted to start diving into, and in this month is, what does Canada actually look like right now in certain areas that are important to me when it comes to safety in Canada, like how people are doing, certain topics that are important to me rather than just talking about the politicians, which is great. And I really want to direct you guys to, there's amazing content creators here in Canada right now, like the Freedom Pines, and you can go look at Kaylor Betts, you can go look at Carla, you can go look at Sunshine Baby, like what's in your food. Like I will link all really good Canadian politics content creators down below as well. And of course, I'll still continue to talk about it. But I was kind of thinking, like, how can I actually come at this in a way, you know, that we're actually looking at what is the state of Canada, not just what the politicians are saying, you know, what are some areas that are of concern and what does that look like? And today I really want to talk about human trafficking. That is something I've talked about on this podcast, on this show entirely, when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to Canada, all sorts of things. So today I wanted to dive into what does that look like in Canada, and I'm going to end it with a really positive one. I know, human trafficking, positive, how can it be? But stick around, guys, because the final story is a story of hope, and I really want to get this out there. But I really want Canadians to understand that the policies that certain government have put in, or the lack thereof, has rippled out, and we are seeing effects in that today. And today I specifically want to speak about human trafficking here in Canada. So if you are interested in listening to that, please stick around and we'll jump right in. All right, babes. Okay, so jumping right in. But first, before we jump into the human trafficking pieces here, I wanted to reiterate the episodes that you can go to if you wanted to know a little bit more about Canadian politics and you are just learning. Maybe some things aren't as mainstream media has said. I have done plenty of episodes, but I'm just going to kind of highlight that starting in season 6, so season 6 started at episode 146. So if you go all the way back to 146 on Spotify, Rumble, and some of them will be on YouTube as well. The season 6 will be on YouTube, is where we started a segment called Keeping Up with Canada, which you know today on YouTube only. And we've talked about all sorts of things, guys, like the broadcasting requirements, censorship. We've talked about the division when it comes to the education and certain programs like with SOGI. We've talked about the MAID program at length. We've talked about UBI, homelessness. We talked about the pandemic and the fallout of that. I've had Open Minds podcast on about the MAID progression, harm reduction. We talk about politics there. Me and Haley go through political scandals in number 7. So again, just an easy Google search, you guys, of the Liberal Party scandals that is out there. I talked to Torva and Donovan about the healthcare bills and how it affected her, and just the sneaky online harms act that they're doing. Talked at length about Bill C-47 for when it comes to healthcare products. We've talked about the upcoming elections, like I said, safe supply, gun control, freedom of speech, and the Green Slush Fund. So if you go all the way back to season 6 in the podcast, again, all that will be still on YouTube under the Be Real Babe podcast. I kept it all together. But as mentioned ad nauseum several times now, that I decided to branch it off because I do the podcast almost a month in advance because they're at length interviews. We have guests, you know, so keeping into that flow, I was having to do stuff about Canada and publish it a month after I've talked about it. And things are moving so fast that I just couldn't keep up. So moving it over here to have shorter weekly episodes so that I can get this out here more and hopefully talk to not real Canadians. Well, there's bots. So like real Canadians about what is going on, because regardless of who gets in, there's still systems that are not great. Okay. I am not saying, and I know a lot of people feel the same way. Yes, voting matters, of course, and we want to have our party, but at the end of the day, we still need to get involved, you guys. We still need to fix these systems. We still need to look at things like this, and people are hurting right now. So how do we help people right now? So politics are great. Again, I'm going to link all of the great Canadian content creators that are on the fucking nose. They do this full time. Like, your girl's got a full-time career that she loves, and a podcast, and teaching cardio classes, and trying to be a cat mom. And there's moms, I don't know how the fuck you do this, right? I'm barely struggling, but I'm just saying, like, there are people that are doing this amazing job at it. So I'm going to link them below. But let's talk about how this is also affecting Canada. So when I first jumped into the conspiracy world, and just stick with me, okay? When I first dived in, I dove head in and I read everything, and I just thought, this is crazy, but this just must happen in the States. Or conspiracy or to not, it happens and it's real, right? Maybe some of the stories are conspiratorial. Some are, a lot are very real. So then I was just like, oh, if that happens afar. Then I fell down the rabbit hole of, like, a couple years ago, like, no, this happens in our home, like, around us. This is happening. Just maybe because it's not happening to us in our real life, it doesn't mean it's not happening here in Canada. So I wanted to, because especially in internet sanity, I was talking about child exploitation, and also talking about the OF model and just human trafficking and all that kind of stuff in the last episode. I thought, let's tie this all together. And as I was going through this, I found an account on TikTok, and I just wanted to make sure to shout them out. If you guys have TikTok, please go and follow, because this is where these two stories came from, and they do a deep dive. I just wanted to bring one story to light because it still hasn't been solved, and one open missing case in an area that is very close to my heart. So I really want to shout out to Human Trafficking Hunters on TikTok. Their account has been bringing a lot to light. This is where I got flagged of this stuff, and I thought, holy shit, this is where my spouse grew up. This is very close to home to me. Again, not close to home to where I am, but close to home. And then I have been focusing a lot on BC, so I wanted to do a little bit more about Canada-wide and spread some things. Again, please go visit Human Trafficking Hunters on TikTok, because they're doing an incredible job at sharing more of this. And you know how I love you guys to go and research this stuff yourself. Don't rely on me in this. Like, I'm just reading what I'm reading, and I'm just sharing with you guys the best that I can. Okay, so first story that I wanted to talk about, that this is what put on my radar. And unfortunately, I'm not actually seeing a lot of news articles about this, or articles at all about it. Most of the stuff is TikToks, and I'm not good enough yet on YouTube, guys. Thanks for being patient while I learn through this, is how to share videos. And I'm not really sure about copyright. That's why I just kind of prefer to stick to articles. But this is where I first heard about Samantha Lambert from the Niagara area, from St. Catharines, and I wanted to share her story. This article is written in 2024, but the case is still not solved. So I wanted to share this article with you guys. And sorry, this is a different layout, so I'm going to probably mess this up. So Samantha Lambert case still unsolved 5 years later. Keep in mind, this was written March 18th, 2024. So now we're going on 6 years later. Samantha was found dead on February 17th, 2019 in a ditch near Moyer and Chisler roads outside of Cook Mills. More than 5 years ago, Samantha Lambert's body was discovered in a ditch at the side of a road in rural Welland. Her mother, Yvonne Lambert, is still seeking answers to some of the most important questions surrounding her death. Among the most pressing is how the 19-year-old St. Catharines woman died. There's her picture. Just, guys, take a look and see if she looks familiar. Samantha was reported missing on February 4th, 2018, and was found dead on February 17th, 2019, in a ditch near Moyer and Chisler Road outside of Cook's Mills, Welland. It's been a nightmare for me. I can't imagine what it was like for Samantha, her mom said. It's just not having answers, and someone should pay for what they did to my little girl. It hurts my heart. Like, fucking Yvonne, I am so sorry. I tried to look up as much as I could to be able to share this story, and again, just going to refer you guys to the TikTok accounts, because they're doing an amazing job there. I don't feel like I'm an investigative journalist at all to be able to portray this, but I just wanted to get this out there, especially because my listeners in Canada, across the nation, if anybody obviously knows or have seen her face, or there's got to be something, and I truly hope that one day stuff comes to light. But the only way I can help by doing that is sharing her story. And I couldn't imagine. So I really hope that she gets some clarity, and to have gone that long to not know what was happening, and to find this to still not know what's going on, because it's still an open case, right? So Niagara Regional Police Inspector Steve Magistrali, in charge of investigative support services in the Forces Homicide Unit, said Samantha's case remains open, so it's difficult to share a tremendous amount of details. Yeah, right. Like, that's the hard part, I guess. Hey, is like trying to share stuff without compromising at the same time. I guess it's just, how do you ever know, right? How do you ever know if something said leads to something, or something being said could lead to someone else saying something? But either way, I'm not a professional, so leave that to them. One detail still missing is how she died. Samantha's remains were identified February 26, 2019, following a post-mortem exam in Toronto on February 21st. The circumstances surrounding her death are still under investigation. said Magistral. She went for a post-mortem and the cause of death is still undetermined. Yvonne described her daughter as a joy for everybody to be around, with a good heart who was generally caring and helpful person. Described as someone who lit up the room, who was well loved by friends and family, Samantha enjoyed every aspect of her life, said Yvonne, from family to helping strangers and volunteering at a food bank in St. Catharines. She believes her daughter was a victim of human sex trafficking and a growing problem in Niagara and Canada, which the NRP has devoted greater resources to combating. Yvonne said prior to Samantha's disappearance, she was displaying characteristics of someone being groomed for trafficking, including changes in behavior and hanging around a different crowd, largely consisting of old men. She was never allowed to come and see me without them there, she said. Samantha told her mom they worked as speedy drivers, an unofficial, inexpensive taxi service. Yvonne said during that time, Samantha's behavior changed dramatically. Things just went from bad to worse, and it became apparent she was addicted to drugs, heroin specifically, she said. It just went crazy, and within 6 months she was gone. Yvonne said the last time she saw her daughter alive was just before she disappeared. Samantha was accompanied by a couple of men who did not enter her home, said Yvonne. I reported her missing in the fall of 2018. She was found as an angel by somebody walking their dog, and it became more of a nightmare because Samantha was not coming home to me the way I'd hoped. Magistral said the homicide unit is working to bring some type of closure to Samantha's case, as there has been much talk in the community, and he's sure someone knows something. We know there are people in the community with information to assisting us in guiding this investigation to conclusion in the hope of bringing closure to Yvonne, her family, and friends, he said. Whether it's a homicide or anything, we're one tip away from solving it, and there's people in the community who have that information, and we're hoping people step forward and assist us in bringing closure to this case. Looking back, Yvonne said she wishes she had noticed the signs earlier and advised parents to pay attention. Meet people they say they are their best friends, and trust your gut. If it feels wrong, then it probably is, she said. Anyone who has information can contact Crime Stoppers at Niagara anonymously. So as mentioned, I really wanted to bring that case up because, for one, I truly feel for Yvonne, and I really hope that they find closure. I couldn't imagine, as you guys will know, there's still an open case for a missing friend of mine from Vancouver Island, Amber. A couple years ago, again, that's on the podcast, you guys. I'll link it in the description as well. She's still missing, and I know the pain that her family is going through and friends, and I was very blessed to know her through high school and watch her soar and still also perplexed of what happened to her and what's going on. And so I just really, really feel for this family. And so I really wanted to make sure to bring this story out there, because although she has an answer and she's no longer a missing person, there's still no answers to what happened, or not any that are coming to a conclusion that they can find so far. So again, if you're in this area, if you know anyone, or if you guys can please share, go find this article. All you have to do is look up Samantha Lamberts' name, Niagara, and you'll be able to find her and find this article. I had her picture up there. So just go have a look and see, especially if you're in the area, if you've ever been in the area. Does she look familiar? Have you ever heard of anybody talking about her? You just never know. So I just wanted to make sure to share that. And again, you guys, making sure to go to that website and to the TikTok Human Trafficker Hunters, because they're doing an amazing job at sharing these stories. While I was on that website, I also seen this story that I wanted to share with you guys, because this is a current ongoing missing persons case. And I am not saying that this person is they're connected to human trafficking. I'm not saying that. It was just in the area and another situation that this account was sharing. And I just thought, well, while I have your attention in this area, there's still an ongoing investigation looking into a missing person case as well in the exact same area. So here posted on March 17th, 2025, the Niagara Regional Police Service missing person investigation for Nicholas Adamson, 29 years old, of St. Catharines remains open and ongoing by one district, St. Catharines Thorold detectives. Today marks 3 years since he was missing, so just over 3 years now. Nicholas was seen in the early morning hours of Thursday, March 17, 2022, on foot in the area of Moose and Goose, located at 54 Paul St. Davidus Senior Way in the city of Thorold. I'm so sorry. I probably butchered all of that. I'm going to do a better job at researching names before I speak with my mouth words. Nicholas is described as a male, white, 5'10", tall, and 140 pounds. He was last seen blue jeans, and a white shirt with collar, here's his picture right here. Anyone with information to his whereabouts is asked to contact the NRPS at 905-688-4111, option 3, extension 1009011. I'll leave this on the screen for you guys to screenshot as well. Obviously, members of the public who wish to information anonymously can contact Crime Stoppers of Niagara online or by calling 1-800-222-8477. Crime Stoppers offers cash rewards to person who contact the program with information that leads to arrest. So here's his picture right here and his incident number. So you can screenshot that, guys. Also screenshot this one here. And just keep it in your phone. Keep it in your phone. You know, if you ever see this person, you just never know where things are. And then, of course, as I do, I went to Reddit just to see if there's a little bit more information about this. And I found this little blurb that I just wanted to share as well. Again, guys, please go to the TikTok account. Please Google this stuff yourself in your area. I have my own algorithm and stuff is blocked here in Canada. We know this. So Reddit's loose. Please help. On March 17th, 2022, Nicholas Adamson disappeared from the Moose and Goose Bar in Thorold, Ontario. He went outside to make a phone call to his mother from a friend's phone around 1 a.m. and the bouncer would not let him back in the bar. He has not been seen since. According to his friends and family, he hung around outside the bar for 45 minutes and was last seen on Sullivan Avenue in Thorold. He told his mom to pick him up at the boys' club but never arrived there. The friend's phone was also missing, but he provided call logs for that night to police. Nothing suspicious was reported. As far as the family thinks, the friends he was with are not involved, though many people think this was set up possibly by them. He had no known enemies and is well loved in the community. So obviously I'm not from the area, guys, so obviously I can't speak of what actually happens or anything like that, but I really wanted to, again, bring that story to anybody that might be listening, whether you're in the area or not. I think it's a good idea to screenshot, just roll back if you need to, screenshot the pictures. You just never know. Any missing story that you guys come through, I think what a really good idea is to help, just again, imagine it was your family, right? So maybe a good idea is, and I've just done this to a couple, but it's now dawning on me I should do this for more, is anytime you go see a missing person case, perhaps screenshot it and put it in your favorites. So then that way, I know that sounds maybe a little bit sad, or maybe have a folder for it, totally up to you, but you know, I just think as community, it doesn't hurt to have that information or stored in a file that you can get. So if you do see someone, you're, oh, does that look like this person? Maybe you have that stored. I have a OneNote where I keep all these articles that I link for you guys as well. So that's where I keep all this stuff so I can quickly access that information, just because, you know, like, again, mentioning, I know what the pain it's like for Amber's family and friends that are really, really close to her. Obviously, I'm pained by it, but not nearly as much as those that are like in her life every day. Like, it hurts me, but you know what I'm trying to say. So just to me, it's like, how can I help? And one is sharing these stories, and two, maybe thinking further beyond that, keeping these pictures, keeping these people in front of mind, just in case, whether you're in the area or not, because you just never fucking know where someone is going on their journey of life, or if they were removed from their journey and they're on someone else's path with them, you know? So I think it's always good. And next I found a article from Castanet about the RCMP warns public of threat of human trafficking in Saskatchewan. So again, kind of branching out of my region. So we looked kind of in Ontario, and I have heard this a few times through my research, is, you know, around Niagara on the Lake, there is a lot of, you know, being on the border right there with America, I can see, and, you know, Niagara Falls also being a place where it's like kind of like a Disneyland or a little mini Vegas, where it's a tourist area. So anywhere you have a tourist area, it does lead to a little bit more ease for people to move in and out of these areas, especially with children and stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me that this is a hub. And I'm just saying what I'm reading. I'm not claiming anything fact. I'm just saying from what I'm seeing, this seems to be an interesting area, especially a port of entry between Canada and the States. So just wanted to do that. So we went a little bit farther into the country. Now let's come back a little bit more to the west and go into Saskatchewan and see what the RCMP is warning the public. So RCMP warns public of threat of human trafficking in Saskatchewan. So this was published over a month ago. So a little bit late to the party here, but better late than never. The Saskatchewan RCMP says that recognizing and reporting human trafficking is key to holding perpetrators accountable. Human trafficking isn't a crime that only happens in big urban centers. It happens in cities and small communities across Saskatchewan, according to the news release. National Human Trafficking Day in Canada is February 22nd. Police says it's important for everyone to recognize the signs of human trafficking and report suspected trafficking to police immediately. Saskatchewan RCMP's Saskatchewan Enforcement Response Team, SERT, Human Trafficking and Counter-Exploitation Unit, HTCEU, is dedicated to targeting offenders and criminal groups engaged in human trafficking. HTSCU has a partnership with the Regional Police Service, RPS. This collaborative approach provides specialized support to both RCMP detachments and municipal agencies across the province. I feel like this is something that I fully get behind, unless someone can tell me if there's any sort of reason not to. But to me, this is where government money should go. This is where funding should go, is collaborative, get everybody together, get all eyes on the ground, do whatever you can do to protect humans and get people out of these situations, help educate the public on signs and all that, which they're doing right here. So like, maybe I'm ending this with 2 good articles versus 2 bad. It's not good, but good informational pieces for more education for all of us. The more you know, the more we can help, right? So ensuring the safety and security of the victim is always the main goal in investigations. That's why the Saskatchewan RCMP takes a victim-centered, trauma-informed response to human trafficking, says Sergeant Danny Donison, the Saskatchewan RCMP SERT South Regional Manager and head of the HTSCU in the release. Saskatchewan residents know their communities better than anyone else. Recognizing and reporting suspected trafficking is essential when it comes to holding perpetrators accountable. Which is I'm just so glad they're speaking out about this, you guys. Like, I just really glad to see a conversation happening about this. Like I said, when I jumped into this world, I very much had cognitive dissonance, and I didn't want to believe it was happening for one. I didn't want to believe it was happening in the West, and I definitely didn't want to believe it was happening in Canada, and I'm fucking wrong. I was very wrong. And this one just really, that's again why I want to talk about, like, what is the government doing to help? I see provincial help being done here. Federal level, what are we doing to support and secure our borders, to make sure that the funding is going within our own country to programs like this? What are we doing to make sure that there's mental health support for victims? All those things. So I'm very grateful to have these conversations. And I really hope that when you're voting, you are looking at these policies and funding and making sure that that's where it's important to. To me, this is one of the most important things for victims, rather than, in my personal opinion, foreign aid, that there's people being hurt, like I said, right in our homes, where I believe our money should go to. But that's up to you to decide into policies. But I just want to end with what they have here for how to recognize and report human trafficking. Saskatchewan RCMP reminds the public that anyone can be a target for human trafficking. Victims may be trafficked by someone they know, a former or current partner, family member, friend, or trustworthy person. Recruiting tactics can be subtle. Often victims don't even know that they're being trafficked. A victim of human trafficking may display one of the following signs. They don't have access to their ID, passport, or cell phone. They are under the age of 18 and traveling with an adult who is not their parent or legal guardian. Aren't familiar with their surroundings or aware of what city or town they're in. Appear to be in a controlling or abusive relationship. Exhibit signs of trauma such as burns, bruises, and cuts, or show signs of malnourishment and fatigue. Traffickers may approach potential victims by pretending to be potential love interest, friend, or support person, connecting over social media or in person, offering gifts or money, introducing drugs or alcohol, or threatening a potential victim's loved one if they don't comply. So if you suspect a victim of human trafficking, call 310 RCMP or your local police to report immediately. I imagine that is all over the place here. I'm just going to leave this up for you for additional information to screenshot now if you want to. But again, just wanting to bring these things to light and share, like, again, everything has been pretty not dark, just I guess reality is dark, but at the same time, I want to make sure that I was bringing resources and positive things of this is happening, but look, we're moving hopefully in the right direction. And I hope we continue moving in the right direction. And I hope that some red tape and funding, red tape gets removed and funding comes in to more areas like this to help victims, because we just hear this a lot more. And as the world gets more desperate, as social media and online world develop, and really fucked up people have access to kids and young adults and even adults in vulnerable places, people are gonna get sucked up in it, especially when we're having hard times, especially right now in Canada. Everything's really hard. Things are really emotional and politically triggered, and, you know, people are having a hard time keeping up. So they do desperate things. And unfortunately, human trafficking seems to be this massive fucking funnel of money that people are making off of others. And it puts the worst people in this power position with money to buy human life, and for people in really vulnerable positions and shitty individuals to then cash in on someone else's life. And that is why I want to talk about it. I know it's sad and we hate it, but it's there. And imagine if we can't even talk about it, what these people are going through. Like, sit through it. Like, I'm sorry, I just get a little frustrated sometimes when people just like, oh, I don't want to hear about that. That's awful. Well, how privileged that you don't even get to hear about it. Imagine the people going through it. So listen to it. How do we help? How do we on this side? Because God forbid something happens to someone in your family, right? And then you're going to be pleading for the help that these individuals are as well, right? And at least at the bare minimum, we can share the stories and look for the signs and save the photos of the people that are missing, or remember them, or share their story with others and share the signs and check in with people. I think these are all flags that we should be looking at, right? So not to just like go off there for a second, but going off. But the last and final story I wanted to bring to you guys is a very positive one coming out of Alberta. Again, are we surprised? Please, Danielle, just buy. No, you can't buy. You're not buying. But please just take over British Columbia as well. We need you. But this final article here I wanted to share with you guys, I thought was super positive to end it on a good note. So, you know, keep out for missing. For the fellow that's missing, keep looking out for him. If you know anything more about Samantha Lambert, of course, please send messages and let the Niagara RCMP know. And let's jump in. And if you're Saskatchewan too, please keep your eyes open. It sounds like, you know, it's everywhere. But it sounds like right now that article flagged me for a reason, so I wanted to share. But let's go to the Calgary Herald. Groups supporting victims of human trafficking receive more government funding. 19 organizations in Alberta will soon receive $5.5 million from the province to address the growing problem. So this was published February 24th, 2025. Again, sorry, a bit behind on this one. Whenever Alicia McManus looks back, she's blown away by the resolve that has allowed her to play a public role against human trafficking, a world that has once swallowed up her life. The journey from exploitation to empowerment was a long and onerous one that she said wouldn't have been possible without the support from other survivors. Over the years, awareness of the horrors of human trafficking have galvanized the community to dedicate resources to pull more victims out of this nightmarish reality. McManus, who now works as a freelance consultant tailoring programs for survivors of sexual exploitation, believes the government's latest funding announcement for nonprofits tackling the problem will take such efforts even further. 19 organizations in Alberta will soon receive $5.5 million from the province to address the growing problem. The recipients of the grant include Rapid Exit for Sexual Exploitation and Trafficking, the Reset Society of Calgary, the Salvation Army, the Alberta of Human Trafficking, and the, I'm so sorry if I butchered this, Tsuut'ina Nation. Sorry, try my best. Each one of these organizations partly brings a unique strength in innovative approach to any trafficking, Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Services Mike Ellis said at a news conference on Friday. For instance, Reset, one of the oldest organizations in Calgary serving women escaping human trafficking, offers year-long supportive housing, trauma-related counseling, and training in life skills to 28 women at a time. The nonprofit will get a total of $400,000 from the province this year and the next. The funding is a second iteration of the province's initiative to address the problem. Teresa Jenkins, executive director of the organization, said the financial assistance is incredibly valuable. It will fill an emergency fund dedicated to those who have recently broke away from exploitation. The funding addresses immediate needs such as mental health and addiction support, housing, and tattoo removal, which abusers use to label victims. Oh, this is incredible. Jenkins said the landscape of human trafficking has changed over the decades, with abusers using various methods, including social media, to lure mostly women. It's much more violent, she said. Back in the day, a lot of trafficking was on the street level, and a lot of it now has rolled into organized crime. So Paul Brandt, co-chair of the Alberta Centre of Trafficking in Persons, takes part in the provincial government announcement of new funding for agencies fighting for human trafficking in Alberta on Friday. It used to take weeks or even months to get them to help. Such issues have made mental health support key to rehabilitating victims. Most of the group's programs are developed by survivors who host classes on issues including codependency and addiction. Wow, you guys, this is absolutely incredible to see. McManus personally knows the whirlwind of confusion triggered by the manipulation of the abusers and tricks that give them semblance of power. But they're really not as strong as you think, she said. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. These men walk around, mostly men, acting like they're bigwigs with their fancy cars and their wads of cash, but they're trafficking little girls and they're having sex with little girls. So you're pedophiles. You're not a pimp. It's not a cool thing. Sometimes hopelessness ushered in by such circumstance can be all-encompassing. And to those in those situations, McManus said, I'm standing here right now telling you that you can get out. Wow. Huh. It really just absolutely blows my mind sometimes the strength of some women and what they go through and then how they want to immediately help women and get them out of the situations that they're in. I just absolutely commend, survivors for this and just going and trying to do their best to make sure this doesn't happen to anybody else. Just like kudos to you and everyone in Alberta working so hard, and to the Alberta government for recognizing that this is a real thing and how to help people, and also recognizing that it has gotten 10 times more worse now, guys, with social media, with AI, with people being able to fake. I mean, I just talked last time in the episode about sex extortion. I've talked several times about sextortion, all of these things, and that's why I really wanted to wrap it up. Again, it's not just online people are doing this, but that is a big place that it happens, is online. And here are some of the signs that you can look out for. And again, we can't always know, and so I know any of these victims, like, I'm sure a lot of them did try their best, and sometimes they don't. And I think it's just a good time and a good flag to do a self-evaluation of, am I paying attention to my surroundings? Do I know the people I'm hanging out with? Am I making good decisions? And again, you can be doing all those things and something can happen, and you can be doing all the wrong decisions and a bad thing can happen and it still isn't deserved. But I think if we're in a conscious mind to think about it right now, and we're in the moment listening, and we feel like we're safe, just to do a self-check and make sure that you are doing safe things. You're not talking to random people or sharing your locations. They are protecting your privacy and things about you and your life, especially with your children. Like, I hate to say it, guys, there's a lot of perverts out there, and it's one thing to put yourself in danger and out there, but putting your kids out there, I think is, got to be extra careful with that, because you just don't know who's watching, and it's right here in our back home, in our backyard. And I'm not trying to alarm anyone, but as we're going in through elections, I want you to look at the policies that are allowing criminals in and out of jail to be able to go and do these things. What is happening to protect our borders and vetting the people that are coming into our country? And I'm not just saying it's people that don't come into our country. Don't fucking come at me for that. I'm just saying sometimes when people come here without Western values, if they don't, or if criminals aren't being vetted, and we're not like keeping them in jail, and we're just catching and releasing, like, all those policies, those things matter. So if it matters to you, right? And if I'm wrong, please tell me in the comment section. Like, what do you see in policies that are in right now that are protecting at a federal level? Because right now we're looking at federal election. What is being done to support this? This looks like a very provincially forward-acting situation. What is the federal government doing with these policies when it comes to human trafficking? Please go and research it. That is something. This is what I'm saying is current state right now, right? So again, please, if you've ever seen anything about Samantha Lambert, if you know anything about her, please reach out to the Niagara Police. Please go follow the human trafficking hunters on TikTok. They're doing an incredible job. Please keep your eye out for Nicholas Adamson out there, anywhere. Please screenshot a photo of him. Anytime you see a missing person pop up, I follow Missing Person Canada on Facebook. So anytime they pop up, I screenshot if it's still an ongoing one. Even if it's from years back, you just never know, because I would just think, I just hope people are looking out for Amber too, right? So just keeping that in your mind. Go back and listen again, and maybe write down or screenshot the share that I had from the RCMP in Saskatchewan on what a trafficker could look like and what someone being trafficked could look like. And also, like, tell Alberta, as usual, guys, leading the front on what to do to support. And I really hope that this makes a difference. And I look forward to maybe coming back in 6 months and seeing where these grants have gone, where this money has gone, and what it has done to help the women in Alberta. And I applaud everyone that's a part of this. And I really hope through all the survivors going through this and helping others that you find some form of healing in this by helping your fellow brothers and sisters through something very nasty. But you guys, I think that's it. Again, trying to keep these episodes to half an hour. That one was close, but this is a really important topic that I really wanted to bring to you guys, especially in light of speaking about the OF model there in Dubai. I seen that one also was very well received. And I think that we just look and think that, okay, that's not happening here, but it is, you guys. It's happening right here in Canada. I encourage Canadians, as much as I never fucking thought I'd say this, go on TikTok, go on X. It's way less censored there. You'll find stuff on this topic far more than you can Google anymore. Google is so hard to find anything on. Most of the stuff are these videos on TikTok. So, if you're worried about them, like, I mean this kindly, but if you're worried about China collecting your data, it's too late. They already are. We're Canadian, and I mean, just saying. So thank you guys for listening. As always, I really appreciate it. Don't forget that Keeping Up with Canada is every Monday exclusively on YouTube. Internet Insanity, where I bring you random shit I found on the internet, is Wednesdays. And the Be Real Babe podcast is, as always, as it has been, on Friday, but only on Rumble, Apple, and Spotify, because I am not censored there, so I can share all the experiences I want without being worried about being banned, except for on this platform. But anyways, guys, thank you so much, and until the next episode. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Until next time, bye.